Villefort would probably have rather stood opposite the muzzle of a pistol at 25 paces than have heard this name spoken, but he did not blanch. "Dante," he repeated. "Edmond Dantès." "Yes, monsieur." Villefort opened a large register, then went to a table. From the table turned to his registers, and then, turning to Morrel, "Are you quite sure you're not mistaken, monsieur?" said he in the most natural tone in the world. Had Morrel been a more quick-sighted man, or better versed in these matters, he would have been surprised at the king's procureur answering him on such a subject, instead of referring him to the governors of the prison or the prefect of the department. But Morrel, disappointed in his expectations of exciting fear, was conscious only of his other's condensation. Villefort had calculated rightly. "No," said Morrel, "I am not mistaken. I have known him for 10 years, the last 4 of which he was in my service. Do you not recollect I came about 6 weeks ago to plead for clemency, as I come today to plead for justice? You received me very coldly. Oh, the royalists were very severe with the Bonapartists in those days." "Monsieur," replied Villefort, "I was then a royalist because I believed the Bourbons not only the heirs to the throne, but the chosen of the nation. The miraculous return of Napoleon has conquered me. The legitimate monarch is he who is loved by his people." "That's right," cried Morrel. "I like to hear you speak thus, and I augur well for Edmond from it." "Wait a moment," said Villefort, turning over the leaves of the register. "I have it. A sailor who was about to marry a young Catalan girl. I recollect now. It was a very serious charge." "How so?" "You know that when he left here, he was taken to the Palais de Justice." "Well?" "I made my report to the authorities at Paris, and a week after he was carried off." "Carried off?" said Morrel. "What can they have done with him?" "Oh, Villefort, you scamp. Just your... Oh, yes, I remember now. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, it was such a long time ago. Way back then, 6 weeks ago. Back in those days, 6 weeks ago. So, he's protecting himself from having Dante released here. I still don't fully understand why, but let's talk a little bit more about Bonaparte, shall we, about these 100 days, even though we're talking about Villefort and Morrel here. Napoleon, while he was on Elba, I think reconsidered a few things about how he was leading, because he knew the allies who put him on Elba would certainly, just like the king, King Louis here, see him as a major threat to their territories. And so he had to assume that all-out war with Europe was gonna happen. And so he decides this time to present himself a little bit differently, and more of a constitutional ruler. He's going to set up documents that promise reforms, civil rights, free press, a constitutional government. And he basically is saying, I'm going to protect the gains of the revolution, but I'm also going to be an incredibly strong leader to get us through the times ahead. And he also changes his approach by saying, I'm not here to reconquer Europe. I'm only here to defend France. I am France. He kind of develops this idea in everyone's heads that you cannot separate Napoleon from France. The fall of Napoleon is the fall of your country. It's the fall of your culture, your past, and your future. Therefore, he's really leaning into the loyalty of the people that love him at this point. And it's kind of cult leader-ish. You see the what people have given up for you, and you exploit it further by giving them more of the thing they think they want, but in a sense, you are gaining more of the thing you want from it. I'm speaking in vagaries here, but I mean, let's just acknowledge it, man. And, if you can see parallels to, other folks that exist in the time in which we live, you're not alone in that. Sorry, I was just rubbing my face to get through the anxiety of saying that. But this change in his approach actually introduces a bit of skepticism in people, but his popularity remains, especially among soldiers, veterans, and lower classes. So he's got the support he needs to wage whatever he needs to try to regain and establish France as a legitimate power in Europe. Let's pause there, and we'll pick up a little bit more from him tomorrow. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves as far as the 100 days is concerned, depending on what the story decides to do with it. So, with that in mind, I will see you all here tomorrow for a little bit more of the Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.